Hello, everybody. Steve Britton here. It is Friday, April the somethingth. I should know this. I think it's the 16th. No, it's the 17th. What am I saying? Yes, it's. I'm not even right. I'm totally off. It's the 27th of April. There you go. And I'm here live, loud and proud from my studio here in the city of Calgary, located in what I call the free and independent Republic of Alberta. And of course, once again, it's a nice warm day. Spring has finally arrived, so I've got the old Hawaiian shirt on the go. And so I thought I'd share that with you. The main thing is, I'm going to be taking your calls today, if, of course, you choose to participate. And in doing so, and the way we're going to do that is I've got the Discord thing going on. So I wanted to make sure that, make sure that you are aware that I do have a Discord server up and running. It is the link is in the description to this video. So you can definitely find it there. Although I seem to have lost my stream information. Oh, there we go. Okay. So the Discord server, yep, there is a link in the description below, so you can check that out if you choose. And you can hop on to the Discord server, visit, and say hi to me. And if you're feeling so inclined, you can I'll even drag you onto the air and you can chat with me. And we can have a nice talk about the news stories of the day. So let's get started here. Let's look at the first one of the day. Now this is going back to Monday. This story is Count Dankula and his sentence. He was handed down his sentence in Scotland in the court system there, all for the crime of making a joke. So we'll review the story. We'll talk a bit about it, and we'll check the Discord server, see if there's anyone who wants to come on air with me and have a bit of a chat as well. So let's watch the story. Count Dankula is a Scottish man who refers to himself as a professional. We got the sound, we got the video, but we don't have sound. Dankula. Here we go. Count Dankula is a Scottish man who refers to himself as a professional shitposter. Back in 2016, Dankula, which of course is a pseudonym, had 8 subscribers on his YouTube channel. His girlfriend at the time, or his current girlfriend still, kept going on and on and on about how their dog, which was a pug, is a pug named Buddha, was the cutest thing in the world. So Dankula, to annoy her and to have a bit of a joke, decided to make the pug the least cute thing he could imagine. He decided to make this pug the least cute thing in the world, a Nazi. So Dankula trained the pug to react with excitement to the phrase, "Gas the Jews," and to lift a paw to the phrase, "Sieg Heil." Then he posted the video to his YouTube channel. Someone found the video, thought it was funny, and posted the link to Reddit. Since then, the video went viral. His girlfriend was annoyed, and life went on. Now that is, of course, until the Scottish police got in on the act. They found the video, they arrested Count Dankula, and then they charged him with a hate crime. 2 years dragged by, during which time Dankula was unable to get steady employment due to the looming trial and accusations of hate. He's received death threats and all kinds of other hate mail. All this for posting a childish joke. Last March, he was convicted of a summary offense under Section 127 of the British Communications Act. And this morning, the judge, a lunatic who, when a homeless man had a fluorescent pink toy gun, and then said to someone that he was going to use this pink toy gun on people who refused to give him money, convicted the homeless man under the British Firearms Act. This judge then sentenced Dankula to an 800-pound fine. That's about $1,600 Canadian. Now that's a bit of a break for Dankula, since he was facing up to a 5,000-pound fine and 6 months in prison. But this conviction and this sentence still set a very dangerous precedent. Free speech is under threat in the United Kingdom because now, based on this judgment, if someone feels hurt by the words of another person, not actions, mind you, but words, then they can whine to the police and the person will be arrested and then charged with a hate crime. Don't believe me? Well, this has already happened. Thousands of people are arrested every year for so-called bad social media posts. And just the other day, a 19-year-old woman was given community service and a fine for she posted a tribute to a boy who was killed in a car crash. Lyrics to the boy's, probably the boy's favorite rap song, which included, presumably, these lyrics probably included the so-called N-word. Lyrics to a rap by a rapper, a black rapper. Context was completely ignored, of course, because in the UK, context is irrelevant, it seems. Lauren Southern and some friends of hers had their materials confiscated and their activities shut down by police because their satire and their attempt to make a point was offensive to Muslims. Lauren has since been banned from the UK for making a point. Her friends, Brittany Pettibone and Martin Sellner, were arrested and detained and also were banned from the UK for making a point. This is a state of freedom in the UK, and if you don't think it can happen on this side of the Atlantic, think again. We have Justin People-Kind Trudeau as our soy-sipping Prime Minister here in Canada. Antifa is attacking people with bats and Molotov cocktails in the US for disagreeing with them. This is the state of freedom in the West. And if you are like me and you want to secure a freedom-loving, critical thinking world with an open market of ideas for your children, you need to join the fight and stand against the evil these people represent. Count Dankula plans to appeal his conviction and sentence, and so he should. And if you can contribute to the legal crowdfunding campaign, please consider doing so. And just as I wrap up here, no sound. And hello, everybody. I just noticed that I turned my microphone off for that video and forgot to turn it back up again. My bad. So you got a lot of me doing for the last couple of moments here. So I fixed that now. And, well, there you go. So what I was saying is Count Dankula set up a GoFundMe campaign to raise funds for his legal appeal of his conviction, because there's no way in hell he's going to pay the 800 pounds, and I don't blame him. He even told the judge that before the sentence was handed down. And he raised, excuse me, it's been a long day running around with my dog, with the kid. Anyways, he raised 135,000 pounds out of 100,000 pounds in under 2 days, and good for him. Good on you, Count Dankula. I really hope that works out for you. You got me pulling for you. You've got a whole pile of us pulling for you, praying for you, saying, thinking good thoughts, sending positive vibe your way, and you will beat this. So that was the first story of the week. Now I'm going to pull up story number 2. That's a little bit of a shorter one here. That's here in Calgary. There is some excitement on 36th Street, which is one of the main thoroughfares here in the city. So we'll have a look at this story here and go from there. Now, first up, a twin-engine aircraft with 6 passengers made a forced landing on a Calgary city street after the pilot radioed to the control tower at Calgary International Airport that he was running out of fuel. The miracle in this landing is that the pilot shaved off the end of his right-hand wing while he was landing, but he still managed to put the airplane down safely and come to a stop without anyone getting hurt. Now, this happened just before 6 a.m., so traffic was fairly light, but since, of course, that's a rush hour route, you can just imagine what that did for the traffic. Now, I really hope that the pilot and the passengers had a clean change of underwear with them. All right, so that was an interesting story, actually, because I've got a pilot in my family as well, a private pilot, but there is a pilot in my family, and they always take stories like these with some interest because of the stuff that happens. And it turns out it was a fuel pump that went, and when a fuel pump goes, you don't have much option, and that's one of those things that really is not predictable either. Good heavens. Yeah, apparently I'm more tired than I thought. So that was the second story of the week. Stuff happens, emergencies happen, and I think this was an absolute miracle. And I'm calling this Miracle on 36th Street simply because that could have been a lot worse. I asked my doctor about it, and I said, well, I wonder what landing an airplane on 36th Street when you're out of fuel does. And my doctor said, what it does for your blood pressure. And my doctor looked at me and he said, I think it probably does a lot less for your blood pressure than not landing on 36th Street. And my doctor, of course, is absolutely right in that respect. So that was the second story that was of note. The third story is a bit longer. It's also a lot more sad than the second story. That's this one. There was some terrifying events in the city of Toronto this week. And this one, I'm not going to play the whole story, but I will play a little bit for a little bit of a recap just to refresh your memory, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Alec Minassian has been charged with 10 counts of first-degree murder and 13 counts of attempted murder after deliberately crashing a van into a crowd of people at a major intersection in Toronto back on Monday. Now, as expected, numerous people are looking to make sense of this tragedy, and I even mentioned it on Monday at the end of my own podcast. At the time, I cautioned you not to jump to conclusions, and as it turns out, that was a very good idea. Now, the attack itself resembled a number of prior terrorist attacks perpetrated around the world. You might remember, for example, London Bridge. These attacks have been carried out in the past by Islamic extremists. So, of course, when the news of the incident broke on Monday, it was only natural for people to assume that this was, as well, a case of Islamic extremism. This is precisely why I said that we shouldn't jump to conclusions. I've said this before as well, and I've taken a lot of flack for it. People want to believe what matches their prejudices. Now, by the way, prejudice does not imply bigotry. It just means to prejudge. And so many people prejudged this incident to be an extremist act of terrorism. But we have now learned a lot more about Alec Minassian and his motivations. So, here's what we actually know about Alec Minassian. Now, first, his family name, Minassian, I'm going to have to start either finding a different way to mute the microphone or come up with a better plan here. So forgive the amateur style of this recording. I'm still, as I said, I'm still learning the ropes. So what we know about Alec Manassian is that he is an incel. Incel means involuntarily celibate. Alec Manassian, like Elliot Rodger, is harboring a lot of resentment towards women for not dating him, not being willing to have sex with him, or whatever it is. And it all stems from the fact that it seems to be the case that Alec Manassian has Asperger's syndrome and is socially awkward. And of course, if you're socially awkward, it's going to be that much more difficult to get dates and to get a girlfriend. I'm certainly not perfect in that regard either. I'm fairly socially awkward at times too. I think everybody is. The question is, are we capable and are we able to learn how to become socially awkward or socially confident, I guess. And the one piece of advice I will give anybody out there is stop trying. The moment I stopped trying, I met the lady I ended up marrying. There you go. So take that for what little it might be worth for you. So there's that one there. And we'll go to one final story here as we approach the top of the hour, when we'll wrap up at that point. And this is from yesterday, where I talked about the pillars of freedom. We have Kanye West making waves with a set of tweets supporting Donald Trump and hinting at a presidential run of his own in 2024. Of course, the internet went absolutely apeshit with Rosie O'Donnell melting down. Now, wouldn't that be nice if it was actually literal? Perez Hilton suggested that he was being used by the Republican Party. Taylor Swift's music video director slammed him, saying, "Rich people supporting Trump isn't free thinking. It's just rich people being rich, fucking the poor." Real professional there, buddy. Kanye's wife, Kim Kardashian, actually said something insightful when she said that she believes in people being able to have their own opinions, even when different from hers. Whoa! Kim Kardashian is now the most sensible voice on the left? Now the world must be coming to an end or something. So, that's what's in the news today. And of course, it does make a really good segue and it makes a nice sideshow. But it does make a nice segue into what I wanted to raise today as my discussion topic, which is the subject of freedom and our inherent, inalienable rights. Now, I am the first to admit that I am not a student. Okay, so there we go. And you know, when I recap the week, I'm not going to play the whole video. I think that's just a waste of everybody's time, and I won't do that. So I went into the so-called pillars of freedom yesterday, and that would be the three pillars of the right to life, the right to liberty, and the right to property. Of course, if you haven't got your right to life, that means anybody can take your life at any time, and which would kind of make any other rights totally pointless. The point about any of these rights is that, oh my goodness, I really do have the yawns apparently. So of course, the right to life exists simply because you are alive, and you can't lose that right unless you take the life of somebody else. The second right is the right of property. We are allowed to own stuff. We have the right to own and enjoy stuff. And the third right is the right to liberty. Liberty is an all-encompassing right, which means mobility, it means speech, it means thought, it means expression, it means publication, it means all kinds of things. And the right to liberty is paramount, because without liberty, we are slaves. And that's a really very, very important point to make. These three rights, these three basic pillars of freedom, are real. They are tangible. They exist. They are natural laws, so they exist separately and independently from us as individual people. They are simply there. They are as real as gravity. So those are the three inherent rights that we all have. And those three rights. It is absolutely critical that we stand up and we defend those rights with every ounce of our strength, because if we don't, they will be taken away from us by the bullies. And who are the bullies? Antifa, tyrannical politicians, Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton, Justin Trudeau. These are all the people who would remove those rights from us if given the chance. We can't trust the courts because the courts are, by and large, appointed by the politicians. So we have to make sure that we elect politicians who stand up for those rights as well. In the United States, it seems that they have elected a president who, at the very least, won't be touching those tangible rights, but they dodged a bullet by electing Donald Trump, and we've got to make sure that they stick with it. Kanye West, I think that's a bit of a joke at this point. Then again, I thought Donald Trump was a bit of a joke at first as well. At least his name isn't Justin Trudeau. So that's the end of that. I do not see anybody in the old Discord, on the Discord server. That's not really a surprise. This is this is live stream number 1 of the new format anyway. In the next little while, it is entirely possible that I'll be setting up a paywall, and the live stream will be exclusive to Fridays on the YouTube machine, and everything else will be behind the paywall. So if you want to get the daily things, daily streams, you'll have to subscribe to the website. Don't need to worry. It's not going to be a massively, stupidly high amount of money for the type of things that I'm producing and the amount of time that I'm producing it. So there we go. It is now 4 o'clock in Calgary. That is 6 o'clock in the east and 5 o'clock on the west coast. So at the end of this week, I wish you all the best, and I'll talk to you on Monday. I'm Steve Britton.